So I plugged in my Clover station onto my computer so that I'm able to share the screen with you all. Today we're going to be covering Clover Dining and how to utilize the app to manage your tables, your orders, and your payments, and also how to make some various setting changes that will help make the experience better using Clover Dining. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Clover Dining. There we go. So the first thing you notice when you log into Clover Dining is your floor plan. You're going to be able to create a floor plan that maps out what your restaurant's table layout looks like. Just as you see here, I have all my tables listed out. We have some tables that are active right now, tables that are open. And then if you look up on top, you'll actually notice that we have a couple of different sections. So we'll be able to break down our floor plan into separate sections. So as we see here, if we have an outdoor seating, give me 1 second. Let me try to restart this here. It's not taking my mouse clicks. Okay, let's try this again. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. So as we see here, we're able to utilize multiple sections for a floor plan. So if you have an outdoor seating or an upstairs seating and you wanted to create a separate floor plan to manage your tables more efficiently there, you'll definitely be able to do so here. And then also we'll have a bar and more tab all the way to the right where we'll be able to manage all of our non-table orders. So orders of people sitting at the bar, orders of delivery, takeout, pickup, and so on will all be managed through here, and we'll go over how to take orders on both tables and the bar and more tab. So before I dive into actually taking the order, let's go over the various setting changes and how to actually create this floor plan. So to get into the settings, go ahead and click the top left. On the top left, these 3 lines over here, which will open up this menu. We can go in to edit our floor plan. If it's your first time using Clover Dining, you'll get a prompt to get started to create your floor plan, and it'll take you to this screen right over here. You'll be able to move around your tables. You'll be able to add new tables by clicking the plus sign down here. So we'll be able to add a table, so we could get a table on this floor plan, or we can add a section if we wanted to break down our dining room into multiple sections, or create that outdoor upstairs seating area. That's what a section will be utilized for. If we go ahead and click add table, we'll be able to give the table a name up to 10 characters. So let's say we want to call it ABC 5, 6, 7. We can go ahead and specify that. We can pick a table shape. So whether it's a square shape, a rectangle, or a round shape, we can go ahead and adjust those shapes. We can tilt them if they're, flipped over a different way. And then we can also specify the number of seats at that table. So let's say this table in particular has 6 chairs. We can go ahead and write 6 and go ahead and add that table. We can click on it. We can adjust the size as needed. Let's say, I made this table by accident. I can go ahead and delete it. And then I can also go in and clone a table. So let's say I get the perfect shape and all of my tables are going to be the same size, or several of my tables will be that size. I can go ahead and clone, click on edit, and change the name as needed. And again, same will apply to each section that you have created. You can also change the names. Let's say, instead of dining room, you want to call this outdoor seating because you want to manage that first. Feel free to do that. You can also rearrange the order. Let's say, you want the bar and more tab to be up front. You can go ahead and move that over. And then you can also go ahead and delete a section. So let's say the outdoor seatings, I want to get rid of that. I can go ahead and, looks like I have to delete the tables first. So after I delete the tables, then I can go ahead and delete the section. So that's your floor plan. You'll also be able to create this floor plan and manage it on the web dashboard. And we'll get into that a little later in the training session once we transition over to the web dashboard. So once you have that set up, a couple other setting changes you want to be cognizant of is if you go into settings here, you'll have a bunch of different features that you can enable here. You'll be able to enable order notes. So this gives you the ability to write down a note on a table or on an order. Let's say it's a pickup order and you wanted to specify the pickup time. This order note will come in handy for that. You'll be able to group identical items into one line. So let's say someone's ordering 6 cheeseburgers. You can go ahead and instead of on the receipt, it's saying 1 cheeseburger 6 times. It'll just say 6 cheeseburgers in one line item. So it makes the bill look a little bit more organized. You'll be able to enable manual removal of taxes and fees. Let's say you get a lot of tax exempt customers. You can go ahead and enable this so that your servers will be able to remove taxes from an order. And of course, you can set permissions around who can do this and who can't, just so that, you know, the random new guy isn't taking taxes out of all the orders. Then you'll also be able to enable coursing. So if you want your servers to have the ability to course out meals, you can go ahead and enable coursing. You'll be able to enable the ability to mark tables in red. So what that means is, I'm not sure if you noticed on my floor plan, I had a couple of tables in red, a table in blue, and then open tables in white. If you look down here, you'll notice that red indicates that the table's been seated for over 2 hours and 15 minutes. The reason I have this set is so that when my servers go into the floor plan, they know, oh, table 8, it's been here over 2 hours. Let me try to wrap their order up or see if they need anything. Just so it keeps your server mindful that this party's been here a while. Let's make sure that, you know, they have everything that they need. And blue indicates that the table is in progress, but hasn't reached that 2 hour, 15-minute mark yet. So if we want the ability to enable that, go ahead into the mark tables in red feature, toggle it, and then you could set the timing as well. Let's say, you know, 2 hours 15 is a lot, and we just want to make it, you know, an hour and a half. We can go ahead and change that to an hour and a half. And then automatically those tables who have been seated for over an hour and a half will turn red. And lastly, we have the ability to enable a fast action bar. So we can go ahead and click on that, and you'll be able to, as you see here, this is what the order taking screen will look like, which we'll get into. But once you click this menu, you have a menu of about 12, 16 different options that you have available to you. You can choose your top 4 to appear on the screen as a static option, so that, you know, you don't have to constantly click into the overflow menu. You could just go in and say, you know, printing individual bills is something that's important to me. I can go ahead and make that one of my fast options, so that I can always just click on that, as opposed to opening up the menu and, you know, just saving an extra click. So once we have that enabled, now comes the fun part of actually taking an order. Let's say we want to seat a party of 3 at table 56. We can go ahead and click on that table, open it up. Now we're in our order taking screen. If you look over to the left, on the top left, you'll be able to see the guest count. So we know that we have 3 guests sitting here, but let's say, you know, they're going to bring their friend, and you need to make some room for them. You can go ahead and add an extra guest, or, you know, let's say it's just 2 people on a date and they want to, you know, you want to remove the extra guest. You can go ahead and adjust that number as needed. Let's just keep it at 3 for now. Underneath that, we have the order itself, and it's managed into 2 different sections. You have whole table items, which are items that will be shared amongst multiple guests. So think of something like an appetizer or a pitcher of beer. And then you have each individual guest's order. So you'll be able to manage each guest's order efficiently. And also, not only does this keep your order more organized, it also helps you when you're splitting bills at the end of the night. Over to the right, we have our menu. So if you already have your menu in Clover, you'll have your menu here. So same category, same items. And now let's go ahead and start taking this order. Let's say this group of guests want some wings for the whole table and they're going to share them. We can go ahead and click on that. We have our standard modifiers appear, in this case, wing flavors. Let's say we want mango habanero and chili garlic. We can go ahead and specify those flavors. And then we can also utilize the custom modifier field if we don't have a button for something. So let's say, we got an uncommon request from the customer and we don't have a button. We can go ahead and type that out. Let's say this customer wanted their wings extra cold for some reason. We can go ahead and type that out so that when our chef sees it, he knows, not even to cook the wings, just bring them cold. And now I'm just going to go ahead and add on some items onto each guest's order to fill in the order. So let's say we want a cheeseburger here, cheeseburger there. And let's say guest 2 wants to get a bottle of beer. We can go ahead and click on that, have our beer pop up. And as you see here, I have a happy hour set up right now where all of my beers are $1 off. So we'll get into how to create the happy hour, but essentially you'll be able to discount specific items during specified time frames. So in my case, Wednesdays from 2 to 5 p.m., I have $1 off all of my beers. So you'll be able to specify, which beers are eligible for that happy hour, or, which items are eligible, and you can give it either a dollar amount discount or a percentage-based discount. And let's say guest 3, they're not feeling hungry today, but they're feeling a little thirsty. So let's say we want to go ahead and get them some red wine. And let's say they're feeling brave today and want to go ahead and get the whole bottle. You can go ahead and add that bottle over to them. And as you see here, I have my second happy hour set up right now where all my wine drinks are half off. And as you see here, automatically discounted. So now that we've gone through the flow of taking the order, we can go ahead and fire that order out to the kitchen. We'll be able to fire the order all together, and it'll print out at any printer that you have associated. So whether it's at the bar or the kitchen, or you can go ahead and course out the meal. Let's say the guests specify, bring the wings out first and then bring the burgers out in 20 minutes. We can go ahead and click on coursing. We can go ahead and specify the burgers for course 2, whereas the wings will be course 1. And then we'll be able to decide who gets to manage the course. If I wanted to fire out the courses right now, my chef will see on that order receipt to make the wings for course 1 and the cheeseburgers for course 2. But let's say I don't want my chef to get confused and, have to reference old tickets. Let's say I just want them to focus on course 1 for now. I can go ahead and click hold, and that way my server has to go back into the order and check up and fire out course 2 whenever it's time. I personally would rather have my chef fire the course because I don't want my server to forget. So I'm going to go ahead and fire out both courses all together. And now my chef can take care of getting that order ready. So now that we've gone through the flow of taking and sending over an order, let's get into some order management features that we have available here. So like I mentioned previously, this right here is my fast action bar where I have my top 4 features that I want to use. But if I click on this drop down menu over here, I'll be taken to the full list of features available right now. So if I go under discounts and charges, I'll be able to add an order discount. So let's say, I wanted to create these preset discount buttons, or if you already have these preset discount buttons created, you'll be able to apply those to an order. Let's say, you want to give a military discount. We can go ahead and apply that over to the order. We'll also be able to apply item level discounts by clicking on the item. If I wanted to, add a discount for just the cheeseburger for guest 1 because it's his birthday, I can go ahead and apply that to a specific guest. The cool part about those discounts is that you'll actually see reporting on them. So if you wanted to see how many times you gave out a military discount or how many times you gave out a complimentary discount, you'll have access to that information. Next up, I have the ability to add a service charge to an order. So let's say this group got the bottle of wine, so now I have to charge them for a service charge. I can go ahead and apply a service charge to that order. We'll be able to select the percentage for that service charge in our setup app, which we'll go over once we're going over some setting changes. And lastly, you'll have that ability to remove the taxes from the order if you enabled that feature when we were going over the Clover Dining settings. So let's say this customer is tax exempt. We can go ahead and remove that tax from this order right here. Back over to this menu here, we'll be able to move the order if we'd like. So let's say this group of guests has finished eating their meal and they want to go sit at the bar. We can go ahead and click move order. We can move them over to the bar, or we can move them over to an available table. So it'll keep the items intact so that you don't have to, re-enter anything. It'll keep the order as is and combine it with, move it over to that new order. If you wanted to combine two orders together, you have the ability to do that as well. So if you wanted to, this group of guests see their friends sitting at the bar, you can go ahead and move them over to the bar, or you can move that guest over to the table. However you want to set it up, you'll have the ability to combine multiple orders. And lastly, you have the ability to transfer the server. So let's say, I just sat this group of guests, but I was about to go on break, or I already clocked out for the day. I can go ahead and click transfer server. Let's say John Cena just clocked in, so we want to go ahead and pass this table over to him because we know he's going to get us a big tip. We can go ahead and transfer the order over to John Cena, and now he'll be associated with the order, and his under his reporting, he'll get credit for the transaction as well as the tips. So now that we've gone through the order taking process, let's get into how we're gonna split the payments and take the payments on this order. So one thing I want to call out in regards to whole table items, all whole table items will be divided evenly amongst each guest, meaning let's say we have the wings in this case, and the wings are $12, $4 will go on to each guest ticket so that they all pay for it evenly. But let's say we wanted to specify, let's say only guest 1 and 2 ate the wings because guest 3, drank half that bottle and passed out at the table. We can go ahead and click on these 3 dots right over here. We have the ability to move the items. So let's say guest 1 wants to pay for the wings all together. We can move the items over to guest 1, or we can click on split item cost. We can select the items, in this case, the wings. We can specify only guest 1 and guest 2 will pay for the wings. Confirm that split. So as you see here, half the wings got on guest 1 and half the wings got on guest 2. Let's say guest 1 has an early day tomorrow and wants to close out their portion of the order while guests 2 and 3 are going to stay for another drink. We can go ahead and click open up the menu next to guest 1. We can print out their bill. We can pay out their bill. We can move items. So let's say, guest 2 says, please let me pay for your cheeseburger. We can go ahead and move the cheeseburger over to guest 2. So now that's on his portion of the order. And then we'll also be able to move the guest all together. Let's say the guest sees one of their old friends sitting at the bar and wants to go have a drink with them. We can go ahead and move the guest over there. Or even if they're just tired of guest 3 being annoying, we can go ahead and just move them over to another table or another order on their own. So let's go over to the payment screen and pay out guest 1. One really important thing I want to note is if you do intend to pay out just one guest and keep the order active, please make sure you close out the payment from the pay button here and not the pay button here. If you go to this screen right here, and you start checking out a guest, you'll have to close out the entire payment. So this kind of signifies that the order is finished and prompted for payment. If you do it from here, you'll be able to keep that order active and still add on items to the other guests. So now that we're here, we'll be taken to our standard payment screen. We'll be able to close out an order to cash. We can insert or swipe a credit card on our physical device. And we can also manually enter the credit card if we'd like. We can also have a variety of ways of splitting the payment. We can split by a custom amount. So let's say the customer has 6 different credit cards and wants to pay $1 on each of them. We can go ahead and split it 6 different ways. We can split it a custom amount. Let's say they have, 83 cents on this Amex gift card, 47 cents on their debit card, $1 in cash, the rest on a credit card. We can go ahead and split that payment over here. We can also split by guests. So we can go to split by guests. Of course, right now we're only closing out guest 1, so we only see guest 1 here. But if we had multiple guests, we can check off, who's going to fall under a specific payment. So let's just say, we want to close out this order. Now we're taken to our receipt screen. We can print out the receipt for the customer. We can email the receipt, or we can text message the receipt. The cool part about the email and text message is that that email or phone number will stay in your customer database. And also if they decide to check off this offer right here, they'll be able to receive any promos that you're offering through your loyalty program, or even if you just wanted to do your own marketing on them, you'll have those emails and phone numbers to do so. So as we see here, we've paid out guest 1 and the order is still active. The other method of payment that I want to go over today is a feature we call Scan to Pay. So with how Scan to Pay is going to work is on the bottom of our receipt, we're going to have a QR code print where we'll be able to utilize Apple Pay. So I'm actually going to go ahead and show you what that's going to look like. So give me 1 second while I get my phone connected to my laptop. Okay, almost there. Okay, here we go. So as you notice at the bottom of my receipt, we have a QR code. All the customer has to do is point their iPhone there, go to the clover.com prompt up on top. And then they'll be prompted to leave a tip if they would like, if you have tips enabled. So let's say we want to leave 30%. Then we can go ahead and click on Apple Pay. Let's try that again. There we go. Then we could just do our standard Apple Pay. The customer will get an email sent to their, a receipt sent to their email. They can also click on view receipt if they wanted to see the receipt. And they're good to go. So as you'll notice on the actual floor plan, the table will turn green and it will be specified that the order's been paid out. And also you'll get a notification up on top letting you know that Dining Room 56 used Apple Pay to complete their payment. You can go in there, make sure that everything's been paid. And you can also check in if they left a tip or not. So definitely a convenient way for customers to pay without you needing to purchase, like a Clover Flex or using any additional hardware. The customer has to download an app. All they have to do is open up that camera on their iPhone. So what I want to do next is briefly go into the bar and more tabs. So as you see here, I have a bunch of my bar tabs set up. Some of them do have some names on them. Some of them have some order notes. So that's just for me to be able to recognize, which orders, whose orders whose. So as we see here, this is Tom Cruise's order. So we know when Tom Cruise orders a drink, we can go into his order and add on that drink. If you're taking up pickup orders, you can specify the time here to reference that. You can write some notes. So in this case, this guy is wearing a blue hat, so I want to specify that here. You can go ahead and do so. To create a new order, just click the plus sign down here. The main difference when you're taking the order is that you'll be prompted to specify an order type. So in this case, let's say we want to have a pickup order. We can go ahead and click on pickup. We can take the order as we regularly do. We'll be able to add guests as well if we'd like to manage a couple of orders together. We can go ahead and click on add guests and add 2-3 guests here. We'll be able to also pre-authorize credit cards. So all you have to do is insert a credit card onto your device, and you'll have the option to pre-authorize that credit card. So click on that. Oops, didn't wait long enough. There we go. So now as you see here, we have a pre-authorization on the credit card, and the coolest part is that the customer's name will actually appear on the order. So you'll be able to see, whose card that is, whose order this is, and then when you're ready to pay out their order, you can go ahead and go to the payment screen. I'm just gonna go ahead and add a pizza here. Click on pay. And as you see here, the customer's card's still here. So we can ask them, do you want to charge the same card or do you want to use a different card? If they say the same card, we can just go ahead and charge it. Let them leave a tip or print it out for them to sign, however you want to handle that. So definitely gives you a great way to manage all your bar orders by pre-authorizing these cards and having them on file in case a customer walks out, or even just the convenience of having the customer's name on file is beneficial for this. So now that we've gone through Clover Dining, what I want to do next is go over some setting changes, and then we'll jump into the Q&A session. So let's go into the setup app first. So as we see here, we have the ability to go to payments. We can go into enable scan to pay. So if you want that QR code to print out in the bottom of the receipt to give the options to pay with Apple Pay, you can enable scan to pay. If you want to be able to pre-authorize customer credit cards, go ahead and enable pre-authorization. You can also set the default pre-authorization amount. I recommend doing no more than your average ticket size. If your average ticket size is, $15, $25, I would recommend doing that just because you don't want to pre-authorize a credit card for $200 just because someone's getting one drink. So just keep in mind that do something that the customer would be comfortable with. Other than that, on the setup app, you can also set up additional charges. So if you wanted to set up that service charge, you can go ahead and enable service charges here. You can give the service charge a percentage. So let's say, you wanted 20%, you could specify 20%. And then you can change the service charge name because that is something that the customer will see on their receipt. So once you've confirmed that, we're good on the setup app. Next, we could jump into the employees app, which is where we'll be able to manage employee permissions. So this is your standard employees app. You'll have all your employees, all your different roles, and then you can go into permissions and go into specific features that all employees are eligible to do. So specific to Clover Dining here, we see Clover Dining. There's specific roles we don't want to have access to Clover Dining. We can go ahead and check those boxes off. But let's say an employee, of course, we need them to be able to go in and take orders. We can go ahead and click this drop down over here, and we'll be able to specify certain features. Let's say we don't want an employee to edit the floor plan, or we don't want the employee to manage all tables and orders. We can go ahead and check off those boxes. Let's say moving guests is okay, moving an order isn't, or transferring a server isn't. we could restrict all of that. And then to get even deeper into it, go ahead and go into the register permissions. Here's where you'll be able to specify if employees are able to add discounts or delete items or delete orders or perform refunds or void transactions. So use a combination of both Clover Dining and register, and make sure you click that drop down to make sure each role has exactly the features you want enabled and the features you don't. All right, next up, we're going to jump into happy hours. So happy hours where we'll be able to create those time-based discounts. So we can go ahead and click on the plus sign down here. We can give the happy hour a name. Let's say, Wednesday happy hour. We can go ahead and specify that. Let's say we want the happy hour to be from 12 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. We can go ahead and specify that here. Let's say it's only going to be Wednesdays, and then we can choose whether it's a dollar amount discount or a percentage based discount. So that'll be up to you. And then you can also decide if the happy hour is enabled or not. So if you disable the happy hour, it will still be in your happy hour list, just it won't automatically apply the discount. So these are great for seasonal discounts or any sort of discount that you don't regularly give out, because you could keep it in queue and just leave it turned off technically. If you go underneath, you can go ahead and browse through your categories, specify which items are going to get this discount. So let's say, we have our food category. Let's say we want all of them. We can go ahead and check off the whole category. But let's say we're not going to be discounting the shrimp plate. We can go ahead and turn that specific item off, and they won't be eligible for the happy hour. And again, you'll be able to set up as many of these as you like. So if you wanted, specific discounts for drinks and then a different discount for food, you can go ahead and create as many as you would like.